When you're hunting for a gaming laptop, the first thing you notice is how many budget options promise the moon and then drop the ball on day one. I've seen friends splurge on a cheap 15-inch panel with a low-end GPU, only to regret it when the frame rates tumble mid-match and the heat spikes like a summer sidewalk. That hesitation wondering if you're about to get a smarter buy or just another disappointment keeps a lot of us scrolling. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon, and today we're diving into the ASUS ROG Strix G16, 2023, to see if it actually delivers the kind of performance you need without the usual trade-offs. First off, let's talk about who this machine is really built for. If you spend the majority of your evenings on titles that demand serious horsepower, think Cyberpunk 2077, Elden Ring, or any of the latest battle royale shooters, this laptop checks a lot of boxes. The combination of an Intel Core i9-13980HX and an RTX 4050 means you're not just getting a good enough setup, you have a CPU that can juggle background streaming, voice chat, and game logic while the GPU pushes a solid 1080p to 1440p experience at high settings. For someone who wants to stream their gameplay on Twitch or do a bit of video editing on the side, the 16GB of DDR5 4800MHz memory and the 1TB PCIe SSD give you the bandwidth to keep everything moving smoothly. That said, the Strix G16 isn't a universal solution. If your primary concern is ultra-high refresh, 4K gaming, or you're a competitive esports player who insists on hitting every frame at 240Hz, the RTX 4050 will eventually feel like a step down. For those who prefer a lightweight, ultra-portable notebook for occasional indie titles, the 2.8 kg chassis may feel a bit too chunky. In short, the sweet spot is a serious gamer who also values some content creation flexibility, but who doesn't need the absolute bleeding-edge GPU. Now, the display is where the Strix really stands out. ASUS calls it a Nebula panel, and it lives up to the hype with a 16:10 aspect ratio, QHD resolution, and a 240Hz refresh rate. The extra vertical real estate translates into a little more breathing room for UI elements, perfect when you're juggling a lot of inventory in an RPG or keeping an eye on chat while you game. The color accuracy is decent enough that you can also use it for photo or video work without immediately reaching for a calibrated external monitor. In practice, I ran a few gaming sessions with the default settings, and the screen kept up with the GPU output without any noticeable tearing, thanks to the built-in MUX switch that toggles between integrated and discrete graphics. That switch eliminates the typical delay you see when a laptop's Optimus system has to decide which GPU to pull, resulting in a smoother gaming feel. Cooling is another practical concern that often trips up buyers. ASUS equips the G16 with its ROG Intelligent Cooling System, a combination of multiple heat pipes and a larger fan array. In my testing, the laptop stayed under 85°C during a 10-minute marathon in Apex Legends, and the fan noise was audible but not distracting. The key here is that the cooling system actually lets the CPU sustain boost clocks for longer periods, which translates to more consistent frame rates. However, you'll want to keep the laptop on a flat, hard surface. Placing it on a soft bed or couch will hamper airflow and cause the fans to spin up noticeably louder. That's a hidden trade-off that many users overlook until they try to game from the couch. Battery life is often a nice-to-have metric for gaming laptops, and honestly, the Strix G16 isn't built for marathon sessions unplugged. The 76Wh battery gives you roughly 3 to 4 hours of mixed-use browsing, light gaming, maybe a short YouTube binge. If you're planning to game on the go, the expectation should be that you'll need a power outlet within an hour or so of heavy play. That's not a surprise for a machine packing an i9 and a high refresh display, but it's worth mentioning for anyone who hopes to use the laptop as their primary travel companion. Storage speed is something that can make a real difference in day-to-day usability, and the 1TB PCIe SSD delivers quick load times across the board. Games install faster, Windows boots in under a minute, and moving large files like video footage for a YouTube stream feels snappy. The downside: there's only one NVMe slot, so if you ever want to expand beyond the 1TB, you'll need to replace the existing drive rather than simply add another. For most users, 1TB is plenty, but power users who keep massive libraries of 4K game assets might find that a limitation. Audio isn't typically the headline feature on gaming laptops, but the Strix G16 includes decent stereo speakers that handle game soundtracks and chat windows without sounding tinny. Pairing them with a headset gives you the immersive experience you'd expect, and the built-in hi-fi DAC ensures the audio signal stays clean even at higher volumes. If you're a creator who also records,